Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sneaky Geek. For those of you who are just coming to this show for the first time, because we've been on Threads since then, Sneaky Geek is a show about being a geek.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Do you like stuff? Do you like geeky stuff? Boom, we're here for you.
I feel like this show is specifically about, well, it is about understanding certain aspects of, like, what geeks are into. It is also about understanding geeks themselves.
Yeah.
Because we talk a lot about geek culture. Without getting too into the weeds of like problematic geek culture,
Right.
which is a surprisingly difficult phrase to say.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. That's basically the entire that's our shtick. If you're new, congratulations, welcome on. We're happy to have you.
If you've been here for a while, Tommy, Dave,
welcome back.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Welcome back, regular dudes. Okay, cool. Then we should be rolling.
Yeah, did the thing.
It's going.
There it is. Okay, cool.
It's going.
Okay. See, we're not that rusty.
No. And nope, still going.
I forgot how long that is.
And we're back.
That's good.
I have been told specifically that our theme music should be shorter, but I also like the idea of us just talking through it.
Yeah.
And just being like, no, this is just we're just gonna deal with it.
It's casual.
My name is Bryce Rankins, and the esteemed colleague of mine next to me doing quick fact checking with his laptop is Brian Romero.
Yes.
Con season is upon us.
Yes. When is con season? Give us those dates.
Con season, I think, varies depending on who
It does.
you
It's
are.
kind of like there's so many cons going on all the time. Sometimes we go to them. Sometimes they're close. Sometimes we might travel to one, but it's kind of whenever. Right now, we just went to one last weekend. We have another one coming up. So
we also went to a pop-up, which was kind of like a tiny mini convention.
Yeah.
Like,
Wait. Oh, yeah.
you know, so, but like, I feel, so our main cons are kind of bookended by Wondercon and SDCC,
Yeah.
San Diego Comic-Con.
There might be one or two in the middle in our quote-unquote off-season. But, yeah, those are kind of our big ones that we hit. And even the smaller ones, medium-sized ones in and around those.
Yeah, and depending on if something falls in, like Celebration was supposed to be in August one time.
Right.
And that would have been a much bigger con than we usually do in the fall. But what fall is when schools are back in session. There's, New York Comic-Con happens at that time, but we don't go to New York Comic-Con typically. Depending on when your big cons are, that for us, WonderCon is kind of our big con starter. But we got a couple of preludes. Yeah. So the first one I want to talk about before we get to WonderCon is this Gundam pop-up that's been going around the country for like, possibly even the world, for like 2 years.
Yeah, and we've seen it being advertised, and we were like, oh, that sounds really cool whenever it comes around here.
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about like, oh, at the Irvine Spectrum, there's a Gundam pop-up. You should check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Irvine Spectrum's not far from us.
Nah.
That's like, what, a 15-minute drive?
On a good day?
It turns out it's a 40-minute drive. I do not know geography down here at all, despite having lived here now for 7 years. But the Irvine Spectrum, once you get to it, is a fancy-ass mall.
Yeah, nice outdoor mall.
It is.
A lot of cool little shops.
It's not as fancy-ass as, like, something you might find in Vegas where there's, like, Prada stores.
Yeah, no.
But it's definitely up. Like, seeing a Hot Topic, I was like, well, that's not. I mean,
there's a boxed lunch.
There's no Spencer's Gifts.
No.
So it's not that kind of mall. But it also doesn't have like a Prada and a YSL.
Yeah.
So it's also not that kind of mall. But it is upscale. It's upscale and it's nice. And apparently they have an ice rink there in the winter.
Yep.
And there's a Hello Kitty cafe on the premises somewhere.
There's a Ferris wheel.
There's a fun wheel. Yeah. Because it is not made of Ferris, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how fun wheels work, and I'm not going to look into it. So you're just going to have to deal with this. It could be a trademark thing. It could have something to do with iron. I have no idea. Anyway, so at the ice rink space, that's where the Gundam pop-up was. And for a small kind of pop-up, like, I got a bag, I got swag, I got merch, and I got to do an interactive thing.
Yeah.
So, and if we had decided to go back again and actually try the card game,
which was the plan, and then
also would have had, like, it had almost everything that a con has.
Yeah.
Just, very condensed and no panel.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, it was really cool. I went in, I built a little model kit, which was probably about 3 inches tall. And I bought some pretty cheap Gunpla model kits. Which
like
is
decent quality, like cheap price wise, but
they
like
were $10,
solid.
but they were the 144, which is not the smallest they make, but it's got a decent chunk of pieces, a couple of runners, which is cool.
Pretty detailed.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know model kits, runners are the things that you pop all the little plastic things out of. And they were selling nippers, which are the little scissor thingies. They had a bunch of super expensive merch also, but I was not going to be buying that.
That line was so long.
That line was not long on the day I first went, but I went, had such a blast, and then found out there was a card game the next day that they were only previewing on weekends, and was like, Brian, we gotta go.
Yep.
So we went, and then we did not get into the card game.
No.
Because those people showed up literally at 6 a.m.
To line up
in line for a pop-up that doesn't open till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
The people who worked there were from all walks of life.
Yeah.
But there were several who were film industry people.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that contributed to what a tight ship that pop-up was actually running.
Yeah.
Because it is... running a set is often like running an event.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of really cool people from the art department, lighting department, props department, like
so there was a set deck person in there too.
A set deck person, yeah. And I really like I don't know, I just wound up making a bunch of friends with these people, and I really liked like just the whole experience. They were all really nice. They were really informative. There was lots of cool stuff, and it was all to advertise the new Gundam movie that dropped at the end of February.
Yeah.
Which is like GQ, which I think is just called GQ Gundam. I don't know. It
looks really cool.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And the last big Gundam thing that I remember them putting out was Witch from Mercury, which was also very cool. Like Gundam, I think Gundam, because it's a 1970s show, people assume like, yeah, it's mature, it's got some adult like type themes, but I don't think people realize, this is sneaky, I can swear, I don't think people realize how fucked up Gundam is.
Oh yeah.
Like Gundam is a mess. Like the first episode of The Witch from Mercury is a little kid like syncing up with a Gundam and then going into battle.
Wow.
And not knowing what she's doing, she's just like, I just got to get them all, and she's just murdering because she's got such a good sync with the suit that she's in, and just
naturally
hundreds of people dying on the battlefield, and she's just like, ah, look what I can do. Yeah. So, and then Iron Blooded Orphans, like there's a whole bunch of betrayal and murder in that. Like the show is a serious like trauma in an anime.
Yeah.
So
Gundam was one of my first animes. And
was it really?
Yeah. It was Gundam in Dragon Ball Z.
That makes sense.
And Pokemon. But
I
but
can see why
I
two
feel
of
like
those stuck out longer.
Yeah. So, but it's just like, because I was what, 7th grade, I think, 7th or 8th grade. I think Tate showed me a few of their other friends, but it was just like
Gundam Wing.
Yeah, Gundam Wing.
Oh, Gundam Wing is definitely a more palatable experience. For a child.
Yeah. But after a while, it's like, oh, there's so many other shows, and then I got like a little overwhelmed, and then I got super in on Dragon Ball Z, and then I was too cool for school. Yeah. And I'm going to, go away from that.
When we hide from our geek selves.
Yeah.
The origin of this entire podcast.
Yeah. But I found my way out of it. We're good.
Yes. We're back. We've recovered, and now we're just as geeky as we were before. Yeah. My first time ever seeing Gundam, I was a kid. I was at my cousin's house, my cousins Michael and Steven.
Yeah.
Who both, anytime a big Gundam thing happens, we all call them.
Yeah.
Bro, you're not going to believe this. Oh. I remember waking up and it was like on like Midnight Run or something like that. And that's kind of all I knew about it until Endless Waltz, which had a dope theme song, which I think was put on a mix CD that my friend Charles made for me or something. And then I watched Endless Waltz because somebody lent me the DVD, I think. It's probably bootleg. And that's kind of all I knew about Gundam Wing until The Origin came out, which was the prequel series that came out I think it happened during the pandemic. Somewhere around that time.
Yeah, I remember you watching that.
Yeah, and it's so good. Yeah. And then that led me into regular Gundam, which is Mobile Suit Gundam, which is the 1978 show. And now I'm at Zeta Gundam, which is 4 years after the original, and like 6 different shows after the original, because that whole universe is one thing. Yeah. But this is not a Gundam episode. So we're going to move on from the Gundam lore.
Yes.
We didn't get to play the game.
Right.
Hopefully there's demos at WonderCon, which is coming up. But we'll
see.
Get to that in a minute. So then Saturday rolls around 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And you come knocking on my door as you're putting in laundry, and you're like, hey, you want to go to that Star Wars convention thing.
Yeah.
Tell us how did you even find out about this thing?
Yeah, so
because I found out about the Gundam pop-up with just a random Instagram ad,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I remember last year, if not the year before, I just saw some random ads about the Inland Empire Strikes Back Star Wars convention.
The Inland Empire is a section of California in the southern part, but it's not quite to like San Diego, and it's in like high desert.
Yeah.
On your way to Barstow so that you can get to Vegas.
East, but then still south, so it's still south of Orange County, kind of. It's its own little spot. But I remember seeing ads about it and like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like they got their own Star Wars con, and I remember seeing something for it last year, and we were doing something else. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll maybe next year. And then next year, aka this year, rolls around and like, oh, we got a free weekend, and saw a few friends and old crew members that we worked with on Mandalorian and Boba Fett were going, and our buddy Justin, Star Wars Props on the Instagram, shout out to him.
Yeah.
He's working with a lot of the actors and some of the crew, and he got him in on that con, and so they were doing some signings and autographs, and they did little panels. Like, oh, this sounds really cool. Like, I got nothing going on. I might as well go out and check it out. And yeah, so that's kind of how that came to be, and knocked on your doors like, hey man, like, I mentioned it like a week ago, but like...
Yeah, you did. You brought it up at some point, and I was like, oh yeah, that is coming up. And I just paid no mind to the actual date that it was actually happening.
Because what is time, and same. Yeah. So we end up rolling out there, and it was so much fun.
Honestly.
It was... I didn't know what to expect from it.
No.
And the vendors were great. The panels were really cool. Got to see some of our old friends. And... yeah, no, it was a good time. The weather was a little warm, but like still good. The park was great.
Let's address the park real quick. So, I mean, I came to this, I think the selling point for me was the crew.
Yeah.
Like you were like, oh yeah, there's like Maria's going to be there. Lauren's going to be there. And I was like, oh, okay. I actually really like them.
Yeah.
And I would love to see them again.
Right.
And I mean, as much as I don't love quoting the Big Bang Theory, but like, why are you going so far for this? 'Cause it's a con.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I know I'm going to have at least a good time.
Yeah.
So we get there, and as we're looking for parking in the middle of like
Riverside,
downtown Riverside,
yeah,
we see that
first there is no parking.
There's no,
it's
the
crowded.
Parking was, first of all, I was like, well, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
And you know it's all there because every one of those people has a bumper sticker with some Star Wars thing.
Yeah. Or you see the cosplayers, and it's like, oh, that's our people. We're in the right spot.
Right. So when we go to park and Balin's skull is like getting fully dressed up in all of his black armor, and I'm just like, buddy, it's so warm out.
It's so hot out.
What are you doing? But the con is, and like wearing uncomfortable hot clothing at a con, I see it all the time. And we go to San Diego Comic-Con, it's 90 degrees outside. We know that the AC is going to be blasting.
Yeah.
This is not that.
This is outside.
This is like Easy Ups and Coleman camping pop-ups.
Yeah.
And like not...
middle of the day,
and not even like rented pop-ups like we're at like some party in a backyard. Like it's literally just Easy Ups.
Yeah, whatever the vendors brought.
Whatever the vendors brought for
and
shade.
then palm trees and other big trees that are there, but there was a couple.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of shade.
Yeah,
at least in the middle of the day.
We did get there at 11:30, so like it was
we did.
Sun was right up overhead, and this might have been the equinox too.
It was pretty damn close to it.
Yeah. So anyways.
So yeah, it was hot outside.
It was hot
and
for a little while.
It was an outside con, and honestly, when I saw that, I was disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, we're not even in like, I don't know, like a banquet hall or like the Kiwanis Club or something.
Yeah.
You know, and once we got in and we were kind of walking around, I was like, no, this is
really nice.
This is working.
Yeah.
This is working. And once the shade came.
Yeah. There was a nice breeze going, and the shade eventually, I mean, the sun started going down, and but
no shade for the line was rough. But
Yeah. But that's the cool part too. Like there was a line to get in, and
also a very good sign.
A very good sign, yeah. But there was a lot of people there and a lot of cosplayers with really cool cosplay going on. Again, we saw the Baitland Skull getting ready in his car. We're like, okay, yeah.
And I have to say, like overall, just with the panels and we were kind of thinking about how they put this whole thing together because I did have some interactions with the guys who actually ran this thing.
Yeah. We'll get into that later.
All of the aspects of this, aside from the location, which wasn't really that bad.
Yeah.
Like other than my sunburned neck, which had I known, I think that was probably...
We didn't know, yeah.
Had I known, I would have at least put sunblock on and I probably would have been fine. But other than my sunburned neck, like that that whole con was run really tight.
Yeah, and the vendors that we talked to, because they're like, hey, this is our first one. Have you guys been here before? Kind of thing. They're like, yeah, this is like our second one or our third or whatever. And they're like, yeah, we like coming out here. It's good. And we know our audience, and our audience knows what they want from us, kind of thing. And they had nothing but good things to say about it, which is always a good sign.
Yeah. And regarding the vendors also, when we were at Celebration years ago, when looking at all the vendors at Star Wars Celebration, I remember thinking to myself, the only people who are here are some sort of official merch or like vintage toys.
Yeah, or a Funko Pop booth.
Or Funko Pops.
Or like 20 Funko Pop booths.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
And there were artists, there were like people, there was a guy who strictly did stickers.
Yeah.
There were people who made who did cosplay type stuff. And
pins.
Pins.
There was a book booth, but they also had like old pizza boxes. They had
any
cereal
promotional material.
Any promotional material, which I've never seen before.
Yeah, this guy had a Star Wars pizza box. He had like a grocery bag with Jar Jar's face on it. Like if it was part of the promotions of Star Wars, like this guy knew about it and wanted to have it.
Yeah.
And that's all he did. So like I talked to him a little bit, and he had like a lot that he had bought from Japan.
Marketing overseas is insanely cool.
Yeah, but he had like 4 different people who were all shipping to him like in one box basically. Oh, wow. But he was going to be getting a whole bunch of other stuff. So cereal boxes, anything from like cups from fast food chains, all that stuff. The booth diversity was
one of the best I've seen in a Star Wars con.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely, which I really, really appreciated.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I've never loved about Star Wars Celebration is just it's all action figures or it's Funko Pops. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, more like local vendors. Obviously, you have the licensees and stuff. They have their own really cool booths and pop-ups and experiences. But seeing the locals were really cool.
And it's cool to see people who made their own enamel pens.
Yeah.
Like...
the artists were great.
What's that guy's name, that artist?
Blank Slate Designs.
Blank Slate Designs make their own pens. And at anything official, if you're going to get pens, it's either going to be some pin trader from Disney.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be the Fig Pen store, which is
blown up,
but also so expensive.
Yeah.
And his pens are small batch and
custom designed.
Some of the things that are happening on his stickers are individual to literally every individual sticker.
Yeah.
Lots of really cool stuff like that. And so it was just really nice. I felt like all of those people, almost every single one of those booths deserved to be at a place like Star Wars Celebration or at WonderCon or at SDCC. And I don't know that all of them do. But Book Guy was super cool because he had an NPR Star Wars script for the radio production of the book adaptation of... So they adapted Star Wars into a book, a novelization. There's a novelization of every Star Wars. We know this. They're great. They often have scenes that we all wish had stayed in the movie.
Yeah.
The novelization was then in the 80s adapted to a radio play, and the dialogue changed so that things could be explained that couldn't be shown because radio. And then that script was recorded, and you can actually find these on vinyl. They do exist.
Yeah.
But the script for Empire Strikes Back was in there, and what I didn't know when I purchased it, by the way, spoilers, I purchased it, and it was like $10.
It was $10, yeah.
It was great. Inside each chapter, key scenes had the storyboard picture within it,
or Ralph McQuarrie,
or a Ralph McQuarrie like concept piece or something,
which we're all about.
Yeah, I'm all about concept.
Yeah.
So and storyboarding, honestly, both. Like I'm all about any pre-visualization.
Oh yeah,
I love it. So to get the radio play, which has its own rich history of existing, which is cool, and get to see some like free storyboards snuck in there too. It was so rad.
Yeah.
So
rad. Well, it was funny because like I was going through the booth, and I think we're both on other, because it was a big booth. Like it was one of the bigger ones there. I was going through stuff, and you're like, hey, if you see any like books or scripts, I'm like, oh, this one right here, I got you.
Yep.
And that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that, and then I got a Prima guide because I love old strategy guides. I got a Prima guide to Battlefront, and Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, classic.
I almost didn't get it. What ended up selling me was I realized I don't think I've actually beaten Battlefront 2 on the 501st campaign.
Really?
And so I was like, this will help.
Yeah.
And I don't like looking things up online because like when I was a kid, I never got to do that. And as an adult, when I get stuck, I found for a while it was just too easy for me to just get online and look.
Yeah.
And it took out the joy of figuring things out.
But then you also half the time see spoilers, and you're like, no, I just wanted this one part. And then
my typical go-to is I will find somebody who I know I can trust to give me a hint without being specific.
Yeah, I've done that before.
So like I texted Krista this week about Ocarina of Time, and I'm like, I can't figure out how to get the damn Song of Storms. I know this is going to be a thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
So she eventually was like, go to this place again. Just maybe you didn't do everything you think you did. And then I did. And of course that was the answer.
Yeah. And I think I did that with you like 2 weeks ago for Pokemon for the thirsty security guard outside of
You're like, oh, there's a vending machine somewhere in a very large store. I know where to go.
Yeah. Anyways, vendors were great. Cosplays were cool.
Yeah.
Huge Chewie walking around, a really cool Vader, the Balin skull.
Of course.
It was really cool. They had a nice little photo.
Ayla Sakura was there too. Ayla Sakura was cool.
Yeah. Really cool little photo areas. And they had speeder bikes you can hop on.
Out of the way, which I really liked.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I didn't have to worry about like people getting their Instagrams and worrying about whether or not I was in their way.
Oh yeah.
I like when they're sequestered.
Yeah, but it was still center to out of the way.
Well, the ones on the side.
Yeah.
Like the entryway or the hallways inside the Death Star and things like that were out of the way. But you're right, the speeder bikes.
Yeah.
But the speeder bike was such a cool photo.
And they were in the middle, which is really cool.
And they were like homemade speeder bikes.
They look great.
Yeah.
And then they had a really cool like mini stage set up, and they had panels going on, and in between every panel there was a giveaway.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into later. The panels were fantastic. Really fun. We missed the first one with Maria, but we go way back, so we're cool. We chatted with her, hung out.
Yeah.
The DJ was really good. Played some like solid rock music. Which,
occasionally just stopped to show us another Star Wars scene.
A whole scene. So we saw like the pod race and Duel of the Fates.
Grievous fight.
Yeah. The Obi-Wan Anakin duel on Mustafar.
Fallen Heroes.
Yeah. Which at classic Star Wars fan fashion, everybody quoted every line. And
then you're my enemy.
As we were playing Uno.
Oh my God. So we sit down with this. I see they were like trying to find shade, and we finally find one table because the droid makers took up all the tables.
They have a lot of equipment.
But
they were there for a while.
They were there for longer than they needed to be. Very cool people, and I love you, Kenny. You're great. Anyway, so we finally go to sit down by these people, and we're like having small talk with them.
Yeah, no big deal.
You finish your food. I finish my food.
Yeah. And then this lady's like, "Oh, you're done eating?" And just starts dealing. She busts out Star Wars Uno, just starts dealing between me and her. And I'm like, oh no. I want to get up and walk around more. Oh no. And she's like, "Cool, we're going to play Uno." I'm like, "You're not dealing in Bryce? You should deal him in too." And luckily we're like, "Oh, yeah.
I was actually like kind of happy to not move for a second just because I was so over being in the sun.
That's fair.
I got down to Uno. Sylvia tried to pull a fast one on us like 3 times.
Yeah.
Where she'd be like, no, we reversed it this way. Isn't it my turn now? And we're like, no,
lady, come on. No.
Nah, we're watching. We know what's going on here.
We're very ADHD. We're very distracted by Obi-Wan Anakin fight going on and everything walking around. But no. This is business, lady. This is business.
I stand on business. Anyway, none of us won Uno.
No, and it was funny. It got to a point a few times where I'm like, okay, we've been sitting here playing for 15, 20 minutes at this point. I'm kind of over it, but I don't want to be rude. So I was trying to help you out a couple times.
I was also trying to help you out.
There's definitely a few times I could have thrown down the draw 2, draw 4s. I'm like, I got to save these to when it's going the other direction so I can give it to her.
Yeah.
So we can get out of here quick.
Once she started throwing things at me like skip and draw, I was like, oh, lady.
Oh, it's on.
We're enemies now.
Yeah.
If you're not with me, you're my enemy.
And then, so Obi-Wan Anakin fight ended, and then the
Skeleton Crew showed
Skeleton Crew, yeah. They had a panel. There's 3 of them there.
Yeah, it was Wim, Fern, and Neil.
Yeah.
Who are played by Ravi Cabo Conyers, Ryan Kiera Armstrong, and Robert Timothy Smith, respectively. And honestly, they hold court pretty well.
They were, yeah. You could tell they've been doing this a couple months by now.
Yeah.
And so they've kind of gotten their legs underneath them with this kind of thing.
And they definitely, like, that sort of job definitely comes with a certain level of coaching.
Oh yeah,
for public appearances and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they've got that going on
that
too.
training.
But honestly, like even when we were just talking to them a little bit over at the booth, and when we were hanging out with Lauren and they were nearby, like they're still kids.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Although Ravi's a little bit more of it seems to me that he's a little more of a veteran to the business because he was in Kanto.
Yeah. Which I didn't realize until
little animal boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really cool, and that was a pretty good panel.
Yeah, like 20-30 minute panel.
Yeah. Look, they were interviewed by the guys who were kind of hosting the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the questions were a little softball, but like I don't expect you to be like, super grindy, like give me the deets.
This one episode where you guys went to this one planet, there's this one creature, and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But they were cool. They were funny. And honestly, they were super sweet.
They were,
real nice kids.
Yeah.
We didn't buy anything. We're not autograph people. I know a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
I know the VCN people are just gung ho for autographs.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd much rather just have a brief, hey, you really did an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make them work. But they also get paid for autographs, so maybe
help
I
those
should
kids out.
feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were really cool. I specifically got a chance to tell each and every one of them, like,
right.
I was like, hey, your performance was seriously, like, that was some incredible work.
Yeah.
And
because they were.
It's hard work. It's hard work doing all that stuff. It's hard work being on a set.
Yeah, especially those sets, and they even talked about it working on the volume and how different it is.
Yeah, I bonded with
Ryan.
With Ravi.
Oh, Ravi, yeah.
Over the volume and both of us having like
you both got a little sick.
Yeah, Ravi admitted that he walked into the volume like more than once.
Yeah, actually into the wall,
like
the LED
walked into
wall.
The wall of the LEDs. And
he said that. I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's a scary one.
That's an expensive.
That's an expensive bump.
Fix. Yeah.
I mean, I've been there. I walked into a glass plated window once.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sliding glass door on a set.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not play it off well, though I really tried.
Yeah.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, during the panel, Ryan mentioned going into hyperspace on the volume and how cool it was. And I'm like, yeah, I saw it on Mandalorian and I cried.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah. But yeah.
And it was cool to hear their like Star Wars journey too, because like each of them, they all got introduced to Star Wars by their parents, which I feel like that's a very common thing.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool to hear each of their individual stories. They very affectionately refer to what their parents' favorite part of Star Wars is and how that differs from their own.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was nice. Yeah, panels were good. There were demonstrations. Lauren Mary Kim did a demonstration with Ming Chu, who both have stunt doubled for Ahsoka and for the Ahsoka show and for the Magistrate, etc.
Yeah.
They did like a demonstration and taught kids how to do there was a couple of cosplayers did it.
Yeah, a couple cosplayers did it. Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun, really cute. That the two little girls go up there and
no, the little girls were so adorable, but I felt so bad for the both of them. like not for the girls. The girls were having a great time. The Lauren, Mary Kim, and Ming Chu trying their hardest to teach
4 and 5 year olds,
very distracted 4-year-olds how to swing lightsabers at each other. Like of the two ways it could have gone,
it went very well.
It went very well. Like we could have ended up just having a swing into the face,
Yeah.
But instead it was like timid. I don't want to smack the swords until you're reaching out to smack the sword. Like very careful, very, very many looks to mom to make sure that they were doing correctly by the 4-year-olds.
Yeah.
But that one, that was a really fun one to watch.
Yeah.
And then Carly King, who's she's an influencer. She's a cosplayer. She does lots of really rad like saber technique stuff.
Yeah, such a badass.
Yeah, she's a badass, and she knows her stuff too. Like she just put a video out talking about like Mara Jade and Legends and all that stuff. So like she's one of us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
She ended up going up there with
she went and did a demonstration with them, but she also taught some skills.
Yeah, she had her own mini panel to
and some of the kids, some of the cosplayers who went up to do Lauren and Ming's demonstration had already done hers, so they were like throwing in some of the little tricks that she had thrown them.
So, it was a cool mix and match, and it
was a really
girl
neat
power, especially in this month of International Women's Month.
Yes,
we were about it.
Yeah, And then at the end of all that, you got a glass, and we talked to some cool vendors.
Yeah, I waited to buy stuff because I'm like, let me see what else is around, but also like WonderCon's next weekend. I don't want to drop a whole bunch of money right now because I know I might next weekend, so I got to pace myself. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna finish up with the panels and then say our goodbyes to all the cast and the crew that we saw and that we know. We're sitting there talking to Lauren, and you were just like, Bryce, my name's Bryce, and you book it. You take off, and we're like, what's going on?
Which is such a me thing to say. Like, anytime somebody, because people call my name out in class, like when I'm substitute teaching or when I'm on set. Like, if anybody ever calls up my name, like, I love just being like, that's me, I'm Bryce. Like, so as soon as I heard like Bryce, I was like, wait, like not even like jokingly, like it just sort of instantly came up. That's me, I'm Bryce. Why are they calling my name?
Have you heard the story yet?
No.
There's a Nicole here.
Hello.
And she hasn't heard the story yet.
I have not.
Cool.
You're not getting picked up at all, dear.
I have not heard this story yet. That is in fact true.
Thanks.
Got it.
Watch, I'm gonna listen to this later and be like, oh, she was picked up perfectly.
Yeah.
Keep it all in.
There we go.
Anyway, so
Bryce runs off, and we're like, what's happening?
Because my name is getting called by two like randos on the stage.
Yeah.
And I realize when you get to the con, you pay your $25 if you haven't pre-registered, because it was like 20 if you pre-registered. So again, $20 for a con? Are you freaking kidding me?
Heck yeah.
Have it in the park. Have it in the park every single day. I do not like
absolutely
no
worth
judgment.
It. Yeah.
$25?
Absolutely.
Even, still good. So I get when we get there, they gave us all 2 tickets, and we were supposed to write our info on one and then
keep the other
one, so that if we weren't around when they called the raffle, then
they'll call us.
They could call you. So they go around and they had several items just on a table.
There's like 5 or 6 like really cool statues, action figures,
and each one had a little box that you just put your thing into. And I saw the Ahsoka statue, that there was a picture of this Ahsoka statue on Google when I looked up cool Ahsoka poses.
Oh yeah.
When I first got my iPad, and I was like, I think that's the statue.
Yeah.
So I threw my ticket in there because I used that same statue for my like very first digital painting that I ever did.
Yeah, I put mine in the Mando and Grogu one. I was like, oh, do I want to do the Boba Fett like Tamora Morrison one, or the Mando and Grogu? I'm like, Brennan Latif for my guys.
Yep.
Plus Grogu's my dude, so yeah, I'll do that one.
Yeah. And I saw the Ahsoka one, and I was like, this is a very cool statue. Also, it didn't hurt that statue had a few less
it was definitely a little more empty than the others.
So I was like, I'll do it there. And I didn't even really think about it. Like, I glanced at the other ones, and I didn't.
And they're like, cool, let's go to the con.
Yeah, and then I moved on. So I threw it in there. So I'm in the middle of talking with you and Lauren, and then suddenly I hear Bryce. They're like singing my name, and I'm like, there's not a lot of us.
Yeah,
like Bryce is it. There's more Bryces now, certainly, than there were when I was a kid. That's definitely a more popular name than it used to be, but like,
yeah,
what are the odds? So
right.
I run up and I'm like, I'm Bryce. And then he turns and he shows me this statue, and I realize we're calling the raffle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never win these things. And he's like, yeah, where's your ticket? I cannot find my ticket. I cannot find my ticket at all. And they're like, it's probably fine. And I'm like, and then one of them goes, well, what's his phone number? So I give him my phone number, and immediately he's like, oh yeah, that's him. And they're like, it's probably fine. And I'm like, but I want to find it. At this point, I'm mad because I lost my ticket and I feel irresponsible and I should have it. I never found the ticket. I have no idea where it was. It probably fell out of my pocket when I was playing Uno. When I was getting cheated and hustled in Uno by Sylvia. Anyway, so I get the box, and eventually I show him my ID, and he's like, shout out to Bakersfield, because he thinks I've driven all the way from Bakersfield. And I'm like, no, hey, let's calm down here, buddy. And like, I felt bad because like he's having a good time. He's just up there riffing, and I'm like, hey, X-nay on the Bakersfield Bay. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't drive that far.
I have pictures.
Is that me getting the box?
Oh,
I haven't seen these yet.
Yeah,
we should post those on the Instagram.
Oh yeah, we totally will.
Okay. Yeah. Check out the Instagram. We got some photos.
That's him trying to find his.
So this is a podcast.
Ticket? Yeah.
Brian is currently sliding through photos with Nicole.
He looks very excited. Oh,
and then there's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
And then
I haven't seen any of these photos. I just lived it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I get this box, and I come back, and Lauren is like, "That's super cool," and I'm like, "I don't win. Like, I never win raffles. Like, I don't pay money for raffle tickets usually.
Yeah.
But like, if I get put in for a raffle at all, it rarely pans out for me. Now, M&M in a jar counting contests, I kick those ass. Like, it's not a raffle. That is a test of skill, and it is a skill I have. There is a clock in my parents' laundry room that I earned with a lot of really simple and yet technical math. And it also, I think, has like Cialis written on it or something because it's a promotional thing.
You would.
I want it at a bit at a
clock reminding you of your mortality.
I won it at one of my very first cons when I went to get out of school to one of those and a job fair. Yeah. I was like, wait, I can leave campus? I can leave campus for JobCon? I'll go to JobCon. Anyway, so I went, did some jobs, and didn't get one. But I did get a clock.
You got a clock.
Yeah.
For something. I don't even remember what it was for. TikTok. Anyway, so I never win these things. So I tell Lauren, I'm like, I never win these things. And somebody was like, well, she might as well sign it.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, you want me to sign it? I'm like, hell yeah, I'd love for you to sign it.
Because Lauren played Ahsoka mocap in Clone Wars.
So the pose that I chose because it was the closest thing I could find to a realistic pose or realistic Ahsoka doing the one of the poses from the Siege of Mandalore stuff. So when she was like, do you want me to sign it? I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, it's you and Ashley.
This is you.
Like, this is you. Like, this is the most one of the most incredible fights I've ever seen. Like, of course, I don't gush this to Lauren. I don't want her to like think I'm like.
No, you gotta play it cool.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's in my like top 3 lightsaber fights for sure. Anyway, so she signs it, of course, and she's very gracious about it. And it was really cool. And then we went and bought your glasses, and I talked more to the blank slate guy, who I picked that guy's brain, but he was also just so cool.
He was really cool. Yeah. I mean, that's the nice part about these smaller cons and these local vendors is like they're all about talking about their processes. And
I learned things about ordering your products from overseas, from what type of sticker paper to get, from the sticker guy who had all the popsicles with the bad gumdrops.
Those are good.
Like,
he was really cool too.
He did the wonky eye gum.
Yeah.
So all of he did a bunch of anime characters as ice cream on a stick with the gumdrop eyes, and every couple of characters, their eyes would be just a little bit off kilter to just to be that so-so ice cream.
Yeah. The taste is so good.
Looking at multiple things at once for them to be a real ice cream.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so then we bought the last of the merch with you, and then we
headed out.
We did not stop at Book Off on the way.
No.
Partially because we forgot about it, but also because that's a financial decision that you should not do if you're going to a con next week.
Yeah, no.
Is there anything else you want to say about Star Wars Con?
It was great. I had a fantastic time. And seriously, I can't wait for next time.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Like, I'll bring sunblock next time.
And if they do it in the same park, there's so much room for activities and just more places to grow. And they can easily just take out a few of the picture taking spots and put in more vendors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or move things around. Anyways, there's so much room, and it's a great park. Nice part of town.
Yeah.
Everybody was super cool.
The drive wasn't horrible because of the time of day we left.
Yeah. And it was straight down the 91, and you know how that is.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how that is, it's not great.
It's not great.
But this wasn't bad.
Yeah. Honestly, don't knock the small cons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that I say that because the first time I ever talked about WonderCon on this show, I titled the episode Wondercon, the little con with big dreams. And WonderCon is not little.
No, not at all.
It's huge. But it is nowhere near as massive as SDCC. But when like SDCC and Anime Expo and WonderCon are like the 3 cons that you've gone to the most, WonderCon kind of feels like the smallest. And honestly, much like our hometown, it's got that small town feel without, even though it's got thousands of people.
Yeah.
Like you're not so overwhelmed by just the sheer size of it. It's still one of those cons where you can't see everything, which on the pro side of the Star Wars con, we literally could watch every panel because there was only one panel stage.
Yeah.
But WonderCon is not so small.
Right.
It's definitely the smaller scale of like the big cons, and it's run by Comic-Con International, so there is that.
Pretty similar.
But WonderCon is this week.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
I am very excited for it. I've been
Honestly,
looking forward to this for months.
I feel like every now and again something will happen and I'll be like, oh, Comic-Con exists. And I'll get really excited about Comic-Con. But like for the most part, until we're really close, I don't really get that excited for cons.
Oh yeah.
But with this week, like the more I keep thinking about it, the more I'm like, oh my god, WonderCon's happening. Oh my god, we're going to WonderCon.
I need this so bad.
Like I seriously could use this so bad right now. Yeah, freaking mainline that WonderCon shit right now. Like let's go.
Yeah.
So WonderCon's happening, and as you have, if you've listened to the podcast before, you know that WonderCon is kind of your more comic-centric print media.
Artist.
TV is probably as much as you're going to get. Occasionally you'll get a movie that is like really pushing it. I wager we're probably going to get a bunch of Until Dawn promotion stuff because that's coming out and they've got a whole panel. It's a horror video game that's a choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
Has a lot of celebrities in it, a lot of like big name actors in it with mocap. Ward was in the first version of it from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, okay.
And I think Justice Smith is in this newest game.
Oh.
But yeah, you might get a movie.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, it's a smaller con.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not just smaller con because of the size of the con, but it's a smaller con because of what they're actually focusing on.
Yeah. Comic-Con tends to be a little more pop culture con, which is
big
fine.
Studio.
And big studio. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of big studios.
Yeah, there's not usually a Marvel booth at WonderCon. Not an official one anyway.
Yeah.
DC doesn't typically do anything.
Not anymore.
They did for a while. Marvel might do, like Marvel Television used to be pretty big at WonderCon.
Animation, yeah.
Marvel Animation. We usually get some updates on what was going on with X-Men. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. always had a panel.
Yeah.
But in recent years, I feel like it's shrunk down quite a bit.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this one. I just went through I've been trying to keep track of like the artist and the panels going on, but it's like, it's harder to do that, a month out because they just add more as we get closer to it. Right. So went through about an hour and a half ago and went through some stuff. And
last year was really weird because they didn't release the panel schedule until like a week before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was weird.
And it was also raining and on Easter Sunday and like
the strikes were going on.
And the strikes were going on.
So they really didn't know who could show up.
It was all up in the air.
Yeah. This year's different.
Yeah. Everything was this year, not the case. 3 weeks ago, we started getting panels, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. A little bit, about a month.
People started announcing that they were going to the con.
Yeah, we got a lot more of that, which is really cool.
Yeah, and if you've never been to WonderCon or Comic-Con, those cons have their own app that is put on by Comic-Con International, and every single year I go, how do I change it to the new con? Because you have to like download the new con on there, and so
I haven't even done that yet.
Oh, yeah, because you're doing it on your computer. Mm-hmm. So what you're going to do, we're just going to walk you through.
Oh, you're talking about the app. Yeah, so there's an app for the convention, and then there's an app for panels.
Oh, no, there's an app for the convention with
it's in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to get the Comic-Con the Comic-Con app, and then to get over there, there's a refresh button in the corner, and it'll tell you that like, oh, hey, you're missing like this needs to be updated, and it'll provide the update, and then you're going to have to go through and actually download WonderCon's like thing so that your whole thing is back up to date.
I'm going to do that right now.
You should. And then you can go through and add friends, but right now I don't have any on here because I need their friend profiles. So yeah, you got to go through all that stuff. But once you're in there, if you go into panels, you can filter down or you go into events, you can filter whether you want to see autograph signings or panels or game demonstrations or screenings, anything like that. Yes, Nicole?
Just the 2.5-star review rating that this app has is a little...
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like this app.
Yeah.
I don't like the way it's run, but in the last 2 years, despite its really stupid non-automatic update thing, so that because you have to have the like specific con loaded because all the information is like housed within those files.
Yeah.
Despite that problem, the app has severely improved compared to what it used to be.
Oh yeah.
And
I can link the accounts. Cool, we're good.
yeah, and then you can link your account.
My schedule showed up,
and your schedule will be in there. And then what's cool is you have your friend group, and you can look at everyone's calendars and see what everyone's doing. So you can see, oh, hey, you're going to be a panel at this time. I'll go to my panel at this time. Or you can go, hey, like I have a panel at this time. I can't come to lunch right now. You know, because sometimes you want to get lunch with your buddies who you haven't seen in a while. Because sometimes you make con friends. I feel like a lot of our con friends won't be there this year because Celebration is a month away and everyone's saving their money as much as possible.
There's that too.
But I am really looking forward to seeing a lot of those people again, because you wind up seeing the same people and having those conversations. And sometimes it's exhibitors. There's certain exhibitors that like I just, you know, I get to talking with them like I did at the Star Wars Con last week. And every year I go back and I'm like, oh, hey, you're here. And they're like, oh, yeah, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a while, you know.
But there's
like
that
Ming Chen remembers us because we had a good lengthy conversation with Ming Chen. Like, so they remember at least the interaction well enough, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I at least have made some sort of an impression. But they're meeting thousands of people, so I'm not that worried about it. So, yeah, you know, some of the smaller exhibitors especially will remember who you are and they'll
have some good conversations.
You know, they'll be happy to see you. And it's nice. It's nice. It feels like kind of a family reunion, but like you're spending all your time with the cousins that you only see at family reunions.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And then, you know, and you kind of get caught up. You ask them how the con's going. You know,
the usual.
You buy stuff if you can buy stuff. And then there's some panel. It's funny. There's some exhibitors that you're like, oh, I don't go to that guy anymore.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That guy overcharges for his PS2 games.
Yeah.
You know, or you go to another guy and you're like, that guy's always got really good guidebooks.
Yeah.
Or like old Nintendo powers or something.
Or they got the cool like mystery magic cards.
Yeah.
Like.
Or they're working on a particular project and you're just a little bit invested in it because you've been watching this grow over the years and you're like, wait, how many books do you have out now?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Or like, how far is this game coming? Oh my gosh, that's wild. Like, you know, things like that. So I like the personable, and I get that also at SDCC, but you just don't have time.
No, it's so big. There's so many people, and WonderCon's definitely smaller people wise, which is really nice.
Like last year, I spent basically a whole day going person to person to person to just like make sure I saw and talked to everybody.
Yeah.
It was exhausting. And like cons are tiring, but like trying to cram all that in and trying to cram in your panels and trying to cram in seeing the whole exhibit floor. Like I think this year I'm resolved to not see the whole exhibit floor.
Yeah.
I think the days of the snake, especially with your foot right now.
I need surgery soon.
the snaking is not something that I necessarily want to do.
Yeah, which is nice, and that kind of plays into. There's actually a decent amount of panels this year. Like I would love to go see and check out. So
you looked at your panels earlier today. I only just you've looked at the panels for a couple weeks. I literally only looked at the panels today.
Yeah. So I think I'm working most of Friday, so I don't think I'll be able to go Friday, which is kind of a bummer. And Friday is typically for me like the beginning of the snaking day. I'll check out the floor and see what booths are around and
see what you want to come back to.
You want to come back to,
yeah.
Or maybe I'll just like, or it's just like, oh, like this is the only place I've seen this figure or this art piece. Like I got to get it now.
Yeah.
Because I've done that in the past. I'm like, maybe I'll come back later, and I'll come back later and it's gone. It's like, no. And, yeah.
But sometimes it's good to do that. Be like, you know, but
it's like, did I really need that?
Yeah. And that's a tough one too, because sometimes you'll go and then later in the day you're like, I still really want it, and you go back and it's gone.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Sometimes you'll go and you'll be like, I'll come back, and then later in the day you're like, I didn't need that.
Yeah,
I was excited to have seen it and held it, but I don't need that in my house.
Right. Yeah.
You know, which is how I've always felt about that Ahsoka statue. But now it's in my house, and I can't imagine
you got it for free
without it. Yeah. Seriously, so good, so cool.
Yeah.
You can move the eyeballs. It's so articulate.
Yeah.
So I've got my panel schedule at least for Friday.
Yeah.
And it's packed, but I also star everything I'm interested in. Which I wish there was like a maybe option so I could be like,
like a half a star.
Yeah, like a half a star.
Yeah.
There's a couple like writing for animation and monster horror and comics and film, or monstrous horror and comics and film, like some things that like if I need a place to sit and I want to sit somewhere where I'm enjoying
Yeah.
myself,
Right.
I might go. But then I saw Dan Slott is doing a spotlight.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of these little spotlight ons at
Yeah, it's really
WonderCon.
cool this year. Yeah.
So I'm really excited for the Dan Slott thing, and I'm probably going to do that.
I want to do that one too.
Maybe catch the tail end of
if I can get there. Wait, when
the
is
other
it?
ones.
Friday?
That's at 2:30 on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm also like anything storyboarding. There's a lot of Tolkien stuff this year.
Yeah.
There's so
with
much.
War of the Rohirrim, that was out in December.
Yep.
December?
Yeah.
Yep.
What is time?
Yeah.
And then the new Hobbit game coming out on the Switch.
Oh yeah.
Or I think it's on other platforms. I just have the Switch. That's where I'm going to play it on.
But the new Hobbit game.
Yeah, new Hobbit game's
hopefully
coming out.
better than the Gollum game.
Yeah. Which apparently came out and everybody was like, ooh.
Yeah. Remember when that time we recorded a whole episode about it and then didn't know the game came out because no one wanted to talk about it?
Yeah, that's bad when nobody even wants to complain about it. They just want to forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite the letdown. But yeah, there's like a celebrating Tolkien reading day thing. There's upcoming things in Tolkien. A bunch of them are being hosted by
OneRing.net.
the OneRing.net.
Yep.
which
Classic
is-
page.
Brian, describe the OneRing.net to us.
Like one of the best and oldest Tolkien websites. They got news, they got updates, they got interviews with producers, and it's kind of the one-stop shop for anything Lord of the Rings these days. And since I've been going to that website since 99, 2000.
So video games, movies, books, anything like that.
I love that the world got the internet, and one of the first things it did was say, we need to be real nerdy about this.
Yeah,
shit."
I mean, it's just like the Force.net and
Yeah.
the Star Wars version. Yeah, I mean, different crew, but like those were the two pages I went to quite a bit.
See, I didn't know about the Force.net.
Oh yeah,
Which sounds to me like a combination of Wikipedia and hyperspace.
they had really cool forums. Yeah.
Anyways,
yeah,
lots of Tolkien stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of the panels. And even some of the games. And I've played some of the card games over. I really learned how to play Lorcana out there. I played Magic. Been really into Star Wars Unlimited lately, and they have a all-day league play, and then even after hours at the hotel.
How much
I
is
might
all
check
day
out.
league play?
Depends on the game. It's usually $15-$20. You get a couple of packs. You'll win a pack every time you win. Nice little tournament. I know the after hours game, you get like a random pre-constructed deck, and then you get 2 booster packs to, I think, boost things up and kind of make a little more of your own, and then you win a booster pack every time you win.
Cool.
Yeah. And everybody's really cool. It's not super competitive. They're there for the fun of it. So if you're new and need to learn how to play, or you're kind of rusty and you want to, get back into it, like, it's the perfect spot. But yeah, I have that on my list. I got the Dan Slott thing. There's a panel called Art Heals, and it's got a bunch of Star Wars crew from the movies and ILM talking about matte painting and CGI work, but kind of how it, I guess, relates to mental health and stuff. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, if I'm around, I might check that out.
Nice.
There's also Yar, the Pirates of Star Wars panel.
Which is, I think, put on by the legal people.
Yeah. But they're going to talk about all the different kind of pirates in and out of the movies and the shows, probably the books, hopefully. But it's like, that's just a fun panel, it sounds
When
like.
do we get Star Wars privateers?
Oh.
I want Star Wars privateers. If you don't know the difference between a privateer and a pirate steals and actually has a very democratic system of governance.
They work for themselves.
But they work for themselves, and they are...
Hondo?
Hondo is a pirate.
Yeah,
Hondo is a pirate.
Yeah.
The pirates from Skeleton Crew are pirates.
Uh-huh.
But a privateer basically runs on all the rules of pirates, but works for the government and hunts pirates.
Yeah, like an ocean mercenary.
Yeah, but is still acts very much like a pirate.
Like a pirate. Yeah.
Like, definitely still swashbuckling, still
Yeah.
harsh. When do we get Star Wars privateers?
Right.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I guess that's kind of Andor. No, not really. No, that's just more Imperial.
It would be cool
Fascism.
also because privateers are kind of a symbol of, this is going off the deep end, but I'm running with it.
We're going there.
Privateers are kind of a sign that your government is not fully in control and a little bit desperate because of the people that they're hiring to do this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it would show some cracks in the early New Republic
Oh,
if
yeah.
they had intentionally gone with privateers.
Yeah.
Although if the privateer was not necessarily
Which-
fully government sanctioned, and was instead
like
was
at the end of
instead
Mandalorian
planetarily,
season 3,
such as
like the Mandalorian in the end of Mandalorian season 3.
in what way?
That's kind of what he does. He goes up to Teva and is like, "Hey, I'm kind of going away from the bounty hunting kind of thing, but if you have anything for the New Republic, let me know."
Oh,
Yeah.
Mando might be our first privateer.
Oh, we'll find out in the movie.
Yeah, that's rad. That's a super rad thing.
So anyways, going more down on my list, they also show anime throughout the day, just like Comic-Con.
There's an anime I'm very excited about.
So Cowboy Bebop, they got a couple showings of that. I don't know what episode, but that might be something cool. Just like, hey, I need to get off my feet. Let's go watch an episode.
As long as it's not Pierre LeFou. So speaking of Bebop, the creator of Bebop is doing a new show.
Right.
And I think the claim is that despite it being thousands of years apart, Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, and apparently this new show Lazarus technically all take place in the same universe.
Really?
Which is kind of neat. But this new show is called Lazarus, and they're doing a sneak preview of it. Which
Saturday,
is super
right?
cool. I think it's Friday.
Was it Friday?
Yeah. And Lazarus, the only thing we really know about it is like Mappa is involved, which is a really big anime studio, and it takes place in 2052, and a character named Dr. Skinner, this is from the Wikipedia, character named Dr. Skinner has discovered a miracle drug called Hapna, and in 2055 he announces that the drug has a 3-year half-life. So soon everyone who took it is gonna die. So he's like, hey, sorry, we're all doomed. And so a task force of 5 agents is assembled to find Skinner and create a vaccine for it, and the vaccine is going to be called Lazarus.
Interesting.
So it's a very high sci-fi kind of plot, which is really cool. It seems to be deviating very much from the style of story that maybe Bebop had, but like it's pretty on brand with like Samurai Champloo. But if Shinichiro Watanabe is involved, then it very likely means that there's a heavy influence of music in it as well.
Oh, we love that.
Which I'm very excited about, because he basically treats his anime like kabuki theater, and every fight is set to a song.
Yeah.
But like Cowboy Bebop has like 4 discs of music.
Yeah.
You know, if you still measure music in discs, which I do. But it has like 6 soundtracks.
Yeah, right.
Like there's a lot of remixes in there and stuff. But like, yeah, Lazarus, people are very excited about it.
Yeah,
so,
they're showing the first 2 episodes.
I think it is being produced by Adult Swim, which a lot of people are
Adult Swim's Lazarus sneak peek screening.
I think a lot of people are a little skeptical about it because of that, because the last couple of Adult Swim sponsored anime did not go so well. Uzumaki, first episode, great. Second episode, what happened? Major budget issues. The Rick and Morty anime is...
I watched the first episode and it was...
boring.
Yeah, I was not...
It's very rare that I just don't care that I didn't finish something.
Yeah.
And
we love Rick and Morty.
And it wasn't like, obviously it wasn't a comedy, but like I didn't love the art style. It was hard to follow at times, and I kept zoning out.
Yeah.
And I don't do that typically.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really it was weird. It was a weird thing. So hopefully with Mappa and Watanabe being involved, it'll be a nice
see what's up.
Reversal of that trend.
Yeah. We'll do a part 2 and we'll break everything down of what we saw and didn't see and thoughts and...
Nicole, what are your plans for the for your panels? If you can go on Friday.
I think I saw something about a true crime panel, which is interesting to me. I didn't really get a chance to look deeply into the schedule yet, to be honest with you. Kind of
flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Classic Bryce style.
Live on the edge.
Oh yeah.
Skin of my teeth. That kind of shenanigans.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I barely looked at my Saturday schedule.
Oh yeah. There's still a lot on Friday too. So there's a set decorators, a Marvel set decorators panel. They got somebody from,
which means they'll be pulling in cool props and showing them off.
Hopefully, well,
depending on who's there.
Maybe, yeah. So we have a set decorator from Loki, Miss Marvel, and Agent Carter.
Ooh, Agent Carter.
Yeah. Period piece stuff, which is really cool.
And TVA's kind of period piece, in at least it's inspiration for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then kind of high sci-fi with it. A little bit of fantasy sprinkled in, but yeah.
Futurism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be cool. I saw one for you, the storyboarding for commercials, TV, and more. Thought you might be interested in that one. The first TMNT movie, 35th anniversary.
I do have that down.
Yeah.
It's during celebrating Tolkien and right after storyboarding, so
so we'll see.
We'll see.
The Star Wars Force Awakens 10th anniversary with the editor, Marianne Brandon.
Oh, cool.
Might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
See what's up. And and then we have Adult Swim's Lazarus sneak peek. And then I put on Star Wars Trivia Party at 9 p.m.
Oh, yeah,
We'll see. We'll see how we feel at that late. But our good buddy Leilani Shu, who plays Tika the Jawa in Mandalorian, and she's also an Obi-Wan, is going to be co-hosting that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I was like, I gotta go see the homie.
And if you're not feeling all of that, there is the Bikini Bottom Bash.
Oh, snap!
With Tom Kinney and the High Seas.
Shoot, I totally I knew about it, but I missed it on here.
A concert sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a night of music, laughter, and animated mayhem, according to them. And they will be teaming up. Tom Kinney and the High Seas will be teaming up with Radioactive Chicken Heads for an unforgettable live concert event. And it's also going to have Luis Carreño, who is the Spanish voice of Bob Esponja.
That's awesome.
They will also have, and this is probably the most important thing, DJ Lance Rock.
Hell yeah.
So if you're down to go Yo Gabba Gabba with the SpongeBob crew.
You know it.
Yeah. So 2 SpongeBobs, double the sponge, double the Bob. As well as DJ Lance Rock and 2 bands.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, that one's at 8 o'clock on Friday.
Cool.
So that sounds pretty cool.
Good to know. But yeah, Saturday has a pretty solid lineup too. There's another storyboarding.
Storyboarding
Screams and Laughs. Yeah.
Yes. Storyboards for Army of Darkness, Zombieland, Cabin in the Woods, Renfield.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Right up your alley.
Yeah. No, seriously, like these are some pretty rad previs visuals. I'm assuming they'll be showing them too.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if any of them will have a book or anything like that.
Maybe.
Sometimes that happens, which is really nice when you go to a panel and they're like, hey, by the way, at this booth, there's this book you can go buy. And then it turns out there's a rad storyboarding book.
Sometimes they even give away their books.
Sometimes they do. Yeah. I've won my giveaway for the decade. Right. I don't think I'm going to manage to score anything
Not with that attitude.
If I downplay my chances, the universe will seek to correct me. It loves proving me wrong. Mark Wade is also doing a panel.
He's got quite a few panels.
Does he really? I only saw the one.
Yeah. So he's got the 50 answers in 50 minutes.
That's the one I had.
Yeah. And then just after that is DC Superman with Mark Wade.
That's when I started skipping because I wanted to go to lunch with somebody. I don't know who, but I was just I should probably leave this section of my...
That's fair. We'll get hungry around then. But yeah, that sounds really cool. Dan Slott and Mark Wade talking about their Superman books.
Mark Wade's Superman Birthright is, in my opinion, one of the greatest Superman stories ever told.
Yeah.
And there's some shots from the new Superman trailer that very much remind me of Superman Birthright, and I'm wondering if they're going to be pulling from that in a way that
I wouldn't be surprised.
Not for Man of Steel.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely going more comic booky with this in a good way.
Yeah.
But then on the Marvel side of things, there's the world of X-Men 92 and X-Men 97. They got some of the voice actors and I think a couple producers and there's a few other panels with that crew throughout the weekend, which is really nice. So after that, we have a Lord of the Rings previewing upcoming projects.
You and I are on a wavelength today, buddy.
Yeah.
So far, other than the second one, Mark Wade one, you've been mentioning my schedule.
Okay, how about the two legends?
All right, go on.
Okay, it's Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane. The Todd Father. Yeah. So I was just like, what is the two? Is it a new anime or is it a new show? No, it's Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane just chatting it up.
Honestly,
which I'm all about.
Two of, in my opinion, some of the most wholesome men in comics.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah.
Good stuff. I'm excited for that one. And then really cool, at 3 p.m. there's the LA International Children's Film Festival, program number 7. Last year, I worked on a short film that we shot on the mini volume on the Disney Burbank lot, the Infinity Stage, they call it. And that's actually being screened at WonderCon.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to go check that out. That's at 3 p.m., 3 to 5, but I think that one's probably going to be closer to 3:30, 4 o'clock, but
okay.
I'll have to check with the peeps and try to figure stuff out. Go check it out. But yeah, we shot that on the volume, on the Infinity stage.
Yeah.
Which a lot of short films don't do because it's hard to get that kind of access. So like it was a really cool project to work on
with that high quality of a volume.
Yeah. And it's been winning some awards at the little circuits going around. So yeah, seems pretty neat. And then after that, we have how props become icons.
Interesting.
And our good buddy Skip, who I worked with on Mixedish, who went to go on and do Obi-Wan, and he's the prop master for Abbott Elementary.
Yep.
He's on that panel talking about props and how they become icons with some of his buddies.
And honestly, Skip's
the man.
Skip's a great dude.
Yeah, I love that guy.
And he's easy to listen to. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a very entertaining guy, and he's a fan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So he's
got a
really
bit
appreciates
Dalek
what he does.
in his house, and yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm really excited. Just to hang out with that guy. Haven't seen him in forever. Good dude. But just to see what they have for that panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's always got really cool stories.
If you are curious about the Until Dawn film, there is an Until Dawn film panel at about 4:30. And I do have that down just because filmmakers and cast talking about what they're going to be doing. I thought that would be kind of cool.
Which is interesting because there's also a behind the camera house and entertainment industry mixer going on at that time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also at the same time, another Cowboy Bebop screening.
Oh, lovely.
So, yeah.
Yeah, unlike, because Comic-Con is so huge and it is the convention center and 2 hotels, there's a lot of extra rooms that you can go do stuff in. Mm-hmm. And there's not so much of that in WonderCon.
Yeah, there's a little bit, but not as much.
Yeah, not to that level. Like at Comic-Con, like you can basically, there's a whole block of hotel rooms, not hotel rooms. Mm-hmm. They're not hotel rooms. There's a whole block of like banquet rooms in the hotel that you can just pop in and be like, oh, I'm not really into this anime. I'm going to go next door and watch a different one.
Yeah.
And this one, not so much.
Right.
But still, good to know where those things are. And again, if you don't want to leave, but you also don't want to sit out in the heat or the cold or whatever.
Yeah, whatever the weather's got going on.
Knowing where those things are, where those panels are, is a really nice kind of backup plan to sit down so that you're not trying to find uncomfortable seating next to the hot dog stand.
Right. Yeah. But that's all I had for Saturday pretty much.
You didn't have Young Indy to Young Annie?
Oh, shoot.
So
I
Young
saw that
Indy
for some
to
reason.
Young Annie
It didn't show up on here.
Is the Young Indy Chroniclers podcast are going to explain how the exploration of young Indiana Jones and the themes of that led to the eventual young Anakin storyline in the prequels. And they're kind of doing their like deep dive.
That's cool.
Which I love a good deep dive. Like, oh, you went down a rabbit hole so I don't have to? Love it. Let's go.
Topics that I love?
On two things that I love, Indiana Jones and Lord of the Rings. Indiana Jones and Star Wars? Of course.
Sign me up. And then, of course, are given s'mores.
And then, of course, at the end of the day, if you happened to be in the area and to go over to, as you're exiting the WonderCon front doors and you go to your right to the hotel, you'll find the Marriott. And the Marriott has excellent drinks and not so excellent prices, but a fantastic s'mores for your table where you roast the marshmallow on your table.
Yeah.
And we have been doing this since Star Wars Celebration in 2022.
Yeah, either way.
Back
we've been doing it,
in the mid times. And you should go get s'mores. Mm-hmm. You should go get s'mores. And obviously feel free to join us. We'll be in our usual spot on the outdoor patio.
Unless it's weathering. We'll be inside.
In which case we'll be inside.
Well, because that happened last year.
That did happen last year.
Yeah.
So come look for us. Find us. It's a fun game.
Yeah, we're very loud.
We are very loud.
We got a solid crew.
We'll probably be around all of the people we love.
Which could include you. That was smooth, right?
Yeah, it was smooth. It was really good. You did
Nailed.
great. You did great. And then Sunday is great day for bargains. If you're gonna go shopping, bring your cash.
Yes,
because
cash is king.
Cash is king, and it's easier to haggle when they can see the cash in hand. Mm-hmm. So bring your cash and go get some deals because they don't want to have to take that stuff home.
It's heavy.
It is. Don't go to the Tower of T-shirts, though. They're charging way too much.
I got a few panels and things that I
did get to look at Sunday's schedule, so this is all news to me.
So, interesting one first off, 10 a.m. Mixer for science-minded geeks.
I'm a science-minded geek.
Yeah, as someone with a science master's degree, in the geek world. Like, I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of cool.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
It was right there.
Nailed it.
Yeah, so like, but yeah, so that sounds kind of cool and something new and different. And then a couple other panels that like might interest me, might interest you. One of them's alternate career options in video games.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one's at noon. Breaking into voice acting for games and animation.
You know I love that.
Yep. X-Men fandom panel, mutant voices. A few different voice actors from the shows will be there.
Cool.
Including the ones from that last panel.
Cool.
That we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The art of voice directing.
Ooh.
At 3:30.
Understanding voice direction.
Yeah.
Like from the perspective of a voice director sounds extremely valuable.
Right. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. And then one of the last ones, WonderCon Talkback. And I don't know if they've done this before. If they
Comic-Con
have,
does it.
Yeah, but it's just some of the people that put on the con like will come up and be like, "Hey, what did you guys think about this year? What didn't you like? What did you like? What do you want added? What, you know?"
Yeah, so we can go up there and be like, "Hey, the app is improving. It's still terrible.
Yeah, but you're getting there.
But you're getting there, and
we
you're still better
appreciate
than Reed Pop."
Yeah. And then the last one I have on the list, 4 p.m., the 25th anniversary of Emperor's New Groove panel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is David Spade going to be there?
No, but the director, the writer, character designer, head of story artist, we'll be talking about all that good stuff.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love a good story artist.
Mm-hmm.
And that story artist, that whole team went through a lot to make Emperor's New Groove.
We were just talking about that last week.
because the director who is probably coming up there is not the one who started that film.
Right. That's a whole another podcast.
Yeah.
I got it in.
Yep, we did it.
We
okay.
did it.
Honestly, that's all you would need. We don't need to say
All right.
anything else.
Yeah.
Website,
Okay,
who
bye
cares?
everybody.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my WonderCon weekend. And we were talking the other day. It's like I don't have a whole lot of White Whale books that I'm looking for anymore. I've kind of got what I wanted. There's not a lot of action figures.
I'm running out of space.
I don't have an office anymore, so I don't have things to put in my office. Except for art. And then we realized, we've kind of switched. I've switched over to art pieces, and
I've also switched over to art pieces.
Yeah. But it's just like I said, it'd be nice to just see everybody again.
Yeah. There's a few booths that I like to make sure I stop by. I always like to stop by Sebastian Jones's Stranger Comics.
Mm-hmm.
He's independent and just a really nice guy. He does Niobe and all of the stuff that happens within there, which is all like based out of the Pathfinder character development, which is neat.
Yeah.
But I'll go to him, and then I try to if Fuzzy has a booth, I go stop by Fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
If Dale Barry is there, I'll go to Dale Barry. If I go see Dale Barry, because Dale Barry's comic, he's been doing indie comics. He was actually why I went to my very first WonderCon, because we found out Dale was going to be at WonderCon when it was in San Francisco, and we went actually to go see him. That's where the whole How I Met Peter Mayhew storyline happened, for those of you who've heard the previous episodes of our podcast about WonderCon. But if Dale Barry's there, Keith Foster, pop by Keith Foster.
Yeah.
Although I see Keith all the time because he goes to my comic shop.
Yeah, so the hideout a lot, or frequently enough that we see him.
Frequently enough,
but it's always nice to see him at the con too. See how he's doing there, and
But yeah, just there's a few people who I like to go and I like to support,
Mm-hmm.
and
Definitely.
there's some that I completely forget to even think about until I see him at the con. I'm like, oh my god, I love that guy.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's half the
excited
fun.
to see that. I'm excited for that. I feel like I'm not going to see the whole floor this time. I'm probably going to do a little bit more panels than I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I say all this.
We'll see what actually happens.
Yeah, in 3 days' time, I might get whisked away by some friend of some sort that I wind up spending my whole day with. I don't know. I've got a few for sure's. Like we talked about in our last episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things that it's like I really, really want to do this, and then there's a few things that it's like I really want to do this, but if we don't, I'll live.
Yeah.
And then there's I want to do this, but it's only because it's there.
Yeah, and if I don't, whatever.
Yeah, and then there's like, if I don't have anything to do, I'll go do that.
Right.
So I like that sort of schedule. I don't know who all's coming, who might be there with us.
Friend wise,
Yeah, who might show up, and I'll be like, oh, actually, I'm gonna go spend some time with them because I don't get to see them very often. That kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited for the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm excited for our first big con of the year. I think we really revved up to it in a nice way.
Nice warm-ups.
Yeah. Nicole, what are you excited for this weekend?
The food.
The food? The food trucks?
Food trucks. I love the food
They got
trucks.
some good ones, though.
I love the food trucks. I just wish that they were more moderately priced.
Yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah, bring snacks so that when you go to the food truck, you're not compelled to spend $80 for a small meal.
Yeah, we got a whole podcast on things you need to bring to a con.
Oh, yeah.
Our last Comic-Con
Stock
podcast.
up.
Yes.
Go check that out if you haven't heard it.
This one was much more of a like Wondercon prelude advertisement sort of thing. So you're welcome, Comic-Con International.
Sponsor us.
I mean, yeah, if you're down, just,
So yeah, we'll probably do a part 2.
Yeah.
We'll see what we actually do. We'll see what merch we actually buy. Maybe we'll get a couple people that we met there, or just some friends that want to hop on and kind of give us their story. And
yeah, hopefully it feels more like a sequel to this episode and less like a smash cut to what really happened. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Cons are crazy. All sorts of things can happen.
We can get Ron Howard on the next one and do the narrator voiceover.
Oh my God, the dream.
Bryce, are you crying?
What if he said yes? Anyway, yeah, thank you so much for listening to this wonderful episode. We hope you thought it was wonderful. If you didn't think it was wonderful, don't tell us that. We are very, very fragile right now. And if you did think it was wonderful, please gush away and tell us all about it. You can find us. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Yeah, so you can find us on Threads. You can find us on Instagram. You can visit us at sneakygeekpodcast.com. We have a website. We're on Patreon. And we got merch if you want merch, and there's discounts to the merch if you join our Patreon. So you could do that and then get the merch, and then you could leave forever, and I would never know. At least some of my stickers would get sold, so that'd be cool. And hopefully, if the packages arrive, Brian and I will be wearing that merch one of the days of the con.
Oh.
So, surprise, I bought us shirts.
Oh, cool.
Please leave us a comment, like, subscribe, add all that. You can find Brian and I on the Instagrams as well. And then listen to our other podcast. It's called The Starlight Archive. We're going to have a new season of that coming out pretty soon.
Pretty quick, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty confident about that one.
Thanks for listening. Have a good con.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Have a good con. And make sure not to add anybody to the group chat that you didn't mean to. Sneaky Geek is hosted by Bryce Rankins and Brian Romero. This episode was edited by Bryce Rankins. Our logo and website were designed by Ali Nimmons. Our theme song was written and produced by Skylar Johnson. Copyright 2024, Sneaky Geek Media, all rights reserved.